The night had not yet ended, but the air was already heavy with the scent of wet earth and silence. A thin mist crawled between the crooked tombstones of the graveyard, wrapping everything in a shroud of white. Somewhere far away, a crow screamed, sharp, lonely, and brief, and then the world fell still again. At the center of this silence, a faint metallic creak broke the calm. A wheelchair sat beside a half-dug grave, its wheels trembling ever so slightly in the morning chill. And in that chair, motionless, pale, and bound with ropes, was a woman with skin the color of deep violet. Her eyelids fluttered once, twice, before they opened. The graveyard seemed to hold its breath. Her eyes were glowing green, like the last light that lingers in a dying lab bulb. She stared at the endless rows of tombs, then at her own trembling hands, their surface marked with faint patterns, almost like circuitry. For a moment, confusion filled her face, then pain. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice rough as gravel. There was no answer, only the slow sound of a shovel cutting into dirt. She turned her head slightly. Just a few feet away, a man was digging a grave. His movements were steady, mechanical, one shovel of dirt, a pause, another shovel. His face was hidden under the shadow of a worn-out hat. His coat was stained, his boots sunk into the mud. He did not look up, not even when she spoke again. "Who are you?" Still no answer. The shovel rose and fell. The woman struggled against the ropes tying her wrists. They bit into her skin, leaving faint marks, but she didn't stop. Her body felt weak, alien. Every muscle ached as if it had been stitched together recently, and perhaps in some way it had. The man finally stopped digging. The shovel dropped to the side, landing with a soft thud. He stood still for a moment, breathing heavily, and then turned toward her. His eyes were sunken, his face lined with exhaustion. But there was something else too. Guilt. "You shouldn't have woken up yet," he said quietly. His voice made her freeze. It wasn't cold or cruel as it was broken, trembling with regret. "What do you mean?" she asked. Did you bring me here?" he sighed, stepping closer. "Not here, back," her brows furrowed. "Back?" He crouched beside her, his gloved hand brushing the ropes that held her still. "You died," he said simply. "And I couldn't let it stay that way." The words struck her like lightning. A rush of fragmented images flashed in her mind. Bright lights, screaming, the smell of chemicals, cold metal touching her skin. Her heart raced as she gasped for air. "No, that's not possible," she muttered. "I'm alive." The man's gaze fell to the ground. "Alive?" "Maybe, but not like before." The woman stared at him, searching his face for answers. "Who are you?" "I was your doctor," he said after a long pause. "And your mistake." The silence that followed was heavier than the mist around them. He stood again, picking up his shovel. "You weren't supposed to wake up here. I had to bury what was left before they found out." "Who?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "The ones who made you what you are," he said, eyes glinting with something close to fear. "The ones who told me to stop. But I couldn't." She shook her head, unable to make sense of the words. "What did you do to me?" "I tried to save you," he whispered. "But the serum didn't just bring you back. It changed you. It rewrote you." Her gaze fell to her purple skin, the faint metallic veins that glowed beneath. She touched her arm as if feeling it for the first time. The warmth beneath her fingers wasn't human. It pulsed like light. She felt tears rise, but they didn't fall. "You should have let me die," he flinched as if struck. "You think I haven't told myself that every day?" The wind picked up, sweeping across the graves, carrying with it the faint sound of something distant. Perhaps thunder, perhaps machinery. The man looked up at the horizon. "They'll come for you," he said. "They'll want to finish what we started. Who are they?" She asked again, voice desperate now. He didn't answer. He just looked at her one last time, his expression a mix of sorrow and determination. Then, without warning, he lifted his shovel and drove it into the ground. Not at her, but beside the grave. The earth cracked open, and a faint hiss escaped from below, like gas or air escaping a sealed chamber. The smell of chemicals burned her nose. She tried to move, but the rope still held her. "What are you doing?" she cried. "Ending it," he said. But before he could take another step, the ground trembled. The sound beneath the soil grew louder, a heartbeat, steady and deep, echoing through the earth. The woman's eyes widened. "It's not just me," she whispered. The man froze, his face turning pale. From the open grave, faint purple light began to leak out, the same glow that shimmered beneath her skin. And in that terrible, beautiful moment, both of them realized that the grave wasn't meant for her. It was meant for something else. And it was waking up. The sun was gone, swallowed by thick clouds that turned the sky into a bruised gray. The graveyard seemed to breathe with her. Each gust of wind a whisper, each movement of the trees a murmur of something ancient and watching. The woman sat motionless in her wheelchair, her hands trembling as faint lines of purple light pulsed beneath her skin. Inside her mind, the other voice still whispered. Calm, poisonous, familiar. He's coming back, it said. You can feel it, can't you? She closed her eyes. He's dead. You killed him, a soft laugh echoed in her head. Did I? He was never the kind to stay gone. Before she could answer, thunder rolled across the horizon. The fog began to stir, moving unnaturally like something alive. And from the mist, a shadow emerged, limping, broken, but unmistakably human. Her breath caught. No. The figure stepped closer, dragging one leg behind him, his clothes torn and burned. His face was smeared with ash, and his eyes, tired, hollow, but burning with determination, met hers. I told you, he said hoarsely. It wasn't over, she stared in disbelief. You fell into the grave. I saw the light swallow you. I saw it too, he replied. I saw everything. He looked down at his trembling hands. The serum never dies. It remade me, the same way it remade you. The woman's voice shook. Then what are you now? Man or monster? He gave a bitter smile. Both. Just like you. The air between them hummed with a strange energy, thick and electric. She could feel the pull of the serum reacting, his presence awakening something inside her. The other voice in her head hissed softly. Don't listen to him. He wants to control you again. He always did. She pressed her palms to her temples. Stop. Please stop. The man, the scientist, took a hesitant step forward. You're hearing it, aren't you? The echo of the first subject, her eyes widened. You mean her? He nodded grimly. The prototype. The first vessel. It wasn't supposed to think. It wasn't supposed to remember. But something in the neural network survived, something I couldn't erase. When I brought you back, it latched onto your consciousness. His voice trembled. It's not just inside you. It is you. The words struck her like knives. You created two souls in one body. I tried to separate them, he said, kneeling beside her. But I failed. You're both stable only as long as you coexist. If one destroys the other, the body will collapse. Her hands clenched. So I'm trapped. Either I die, or I share myself with something that wants to kill me. His expression softened. I can fix it this time. The voice inside her erupted in fury. He lies. He said the same thing before he killed us. She screamed, clutching her head as both voices, his and the one within, collided like thunder in her mind. Sparks of violet light burst from her fingertips, scorching the ground. Stop it, both of you! The man raised his hands, trembling. You have to listen to me. I can extract the rogue neural pattern. I can free you, the other voice hissed, darker now. Free her? He'll erase me. He'll erase you. Her breathing grew shallow. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum. She could feel the energy rising, the serum reacting, her veins burning with light. The man stepped closer, desperate now. Please let me help you. You were the only one who ever believed in me. Don't let her control you, and then silence. The fog froze. The wind stopped. The graveyard seemed to hang in suspended time. When she spoke, her voice was layered, two voices speaking as one. What if I don't want to be saved? The man's eyes widened. No, she's taking over. The woman smiled faintly, but it wasn't her smile anymore. You wanted to play God, didn't you? You wanted to decide who lives and who dies. You wanted to rewrite creation. He stumbled backward. Listen to me. You're not her, but you're stronger than her. Her head tilted. Then why does she remember everything you did? The air vibrated with power. Purple light spiraled from her body, circling like a storm. Tombstones cracked, trees bent under invisible pressure. The scientist shielded his face from the wind. Stop before it's too late. She laughed, the sound a chilling mix of sorrow and rage. It's already too late. He reached for her, his voice breaking. You don't have to become her. For a split second, her expression softened. Tears shimmered in her glowing eyes. I was never her. I was you. Your guilt, your failure, your second chance. The ground split beneath them. Light poured from the cracks, engulfing everything in violet fire. The man screamed as the energy consumed him, but still he reached for her hand. I just wanted to save you, he whispered. She looked down at him, sorrow and fury blending in her gaze. Then you shouldn't have brought me back. The explosion of light tore through the graveyard, ripping through the fog and splitting the sky. When it faded, the man was gone. The woman fell to her knees in the dirt, gasping for breath. The voice inside her was quiet now, almost peaceful. Now, it whispered, we are one. She looked at her hands, glowing faintly, trembling. She didn't know if she had killed him or freed him, but she knew this. Nothing human remained inside her anymore, only the soul that refused to die. The earth kept trembling long after the first pulse of light had faded. It wasn't a violent quake, but a slow, rhythmic shudder like the world itself was breathing beneath the soil. The man, the gravedigger, the scientist, the creator staggered backward, his eyes locked on the faint purple glow that seeped from the half-dug pit. The woman in the wheelchair stared at him, her voice sharp and frightened. What's down there? He didn't answer. His hands trembled as he picked up his shovel again, pressing the edge into the ground like it could somehow protect him. The air grew heavy with the smell of ozone and decay. The fog began to swirl, drawn toward the open grave as if pulled by an unseen current. Tell me, she demanded. The man's voice broke when he finally spoke. It's you. Or what's left of you. The woman's heart seemed to stop. What do you mean, me? He swallowed hard, eyes darting between her and the pit. When you died, your body wasn't stable enough for the serum? I had to rebuild what I could. What sits before me now isn't the first attempt. It's the only one that lived. The realization hit her like a blade of ice. She looked down at her hands, at the faint light that glowed beneath her veins, and suddenly they didn't feel like her hands anymore. You made copies of me? He nodded once, painfully slow. Not all of them woke, most decayed before I could stabilize them. But one survived longer than it should have. I thought I destroyed it. I buried it here. He gestured toward the grave, his voice trembling. But it seems the serum never died. A low hum rose from the pit, soft at first, then stronger. The woman could feel it inside her chest, vibrating in rhythm with her heartbeat. You said you wanted to save me, she said, her tone cracking. But this is madness. I wanted to undo what happened, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. You didn't deserve to die the way you did. I thought if I could bring you back, I could fix my mistakes. But I made new ones instead. The hum grew louder. The earth around the grave began to pulse with faint light, like veins carrying energy. The woman felt it reaching out to her, connecting somehow, as though the thing buried below recognized her existence. What is it doing? She whispered. Calling to you, he said. Because it thinks you're the same. Her breath caught in her throat. She wanted to move, to escape, but her body refused. Fear rooted her in place. Then stop it. I can't, he said quietly. Not without killing you, too. You share the same neural code. If it dies now, so do you. A cold wave of realization washed over her. So you didn't save me, you tied me to your experiment. He closed his eyes. I tied myself to it, too. I thought I could control life and death. I was wrong. The mist grew thicker, swirling violently now. The hum turned into a distorted heartbeat, echoing across the graveyard. Every tombstone seemed to vibrate with the same pulse. The air buzzed with energy so intense that sparks leapt between the iron fences, and then it stopped. For a second, the silence was so deep that even the night seemed afraid to breathe. Then, from the pit, a hand emerged, purple, cracked, and trembling. It gripped the edge of the grave with inhuman strength, pulling something upward. The woman's eyes widened in horror. It's alive. The man stumbled back, his voice a whisper. No, it's awake. From the earth rose a figure, twisted, incomplete, its body half-rotted yet glowing from within. Its face was almost hers, but distorted, broken, a reflection from a shattered mirror. Its eyes burned with an eerie violet fire. It looked at the man first, then at her. The air filled with a low, mechanical hiss, the sound of a creature breathing through lungs that shouldn't exist. The man dropped his shovel, his hands shaking uncontrollably. This wasn't supposed to happen. The creature took a step forward, the ground groaning beneath its weight. When it spoke, its voice was fractured, glitching like a corrupted recording. "Why did you leave me?" The woman's pulse raced. "It can speak." "It learned from you," the man said, backing away. "It was built to replicate your memories. It remembers everything you once were." Tears welled in her eyes. "That means it remembers dying." The creature tilted its head at her, eyes flickering. "You took my life." "No," she said softly, trembling. "I am your life," the creature screamed, a sound that split the air like metal tearing. The fog exploded outward, shaking the ground. The man tried to grab the woman's wheelchair to push her away, but before he could, a burst of violet light knocked him off his feet. He fell to the ground, gasping. The woman tried to crawl forward, reaching out toward the creature. "Please, stop." "You're not alone." But the creature's gaze turned on the man. "He lied," it hissed. "He made us." And then it moved, too fast to be human. The man screamed as it lunged, knocking him backward into the grave. Dirt rained down as the woman shouted, "No!" Purple light filled the air, so bright it burned through the fog. For a moment, the world vanished into white. And then, as the light faded, the grave was still. The woman's trembling hand covered her mouth as she whispered, "What have you done?" But the creature didn't answer. It turned its hollow gaze toward her, eyes flickering like dying stars. "Now," it said, voice echoing from somewhere deep inside her mind. "Only one of us deserves to live." The graveyard went silent once more. The graveyard was silent again. The storm had ended, but its scars remained. Charred trees, shattered tombstones, and soil still pulsing faintly with violet light. A faint breeze brushed across the earth, as if the world itself exhaled after holding its breath for too long. At the center of it all, the woman lay motionless on the ground. The wheelchair was gone, melted into twisted metal fragments. Her body was still, but her chest rose and fell slowly, rhythmically, as if she were merely asleep. For a moment, nothing stirred. Then a spark flickered inside her, a pulse of light beneath her skin. Her eyes snapped open. The world she saw was no longer the same. The night sky shimmered with colors she had never seen before, hues between purple and gold, bending and flowing like living light. The stars pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Each breath she took seemed to ripple through the air, sending faint waves of energy across the horizon. She rose slowly, her limbs steady, her strength renewed. The pain that had once defined her existence was gone, not healed, but transformed. Her reflection, caught in a shard of glass near the grave, showed a face that was no longer entirely human. Her eyes glowed softly, her veins faintly luminescent, her expression calm. "I'm still here," she whispered. And then the other voice, the one that had haunted her for so long, spoke back. But this time, it wasn't a whisper of conflict or rage. It was softer, peaceful. "Yes," it said. "We are." For the first time, the two voices, two souls, spoke in harmony. The split was gone. The creator and the creation, the victim and the monster, the human and the experiment, all had merged into one being. She walked forward slowly, her bare feet touching the earth, and wherever she stepped, faint traces of purple light bloomed like flowers. The ground beneath her feet wasn't dead anymore. It was alive, reborn through the energy that once sought to destroy everything. The past began to unfold around her. Memories she had never lived, lives she had never touched, but could now feel within her blood. The first subject's screams, the scientist's guilt, the countless failures before her, all were part of the same endless chain that led to this moment. And she understood. The experiment was never about immortality. It was never about creating a god. It was about uniting what had been broken, to bring balance to two halves that the world had always kept apart. Life and death, creation and destruction, human and divine. She had become the bridge between them. Her mind drifted back to the scientist, his eyes before the light consumed him, filled not with hatred but regret. "I just wanted to save you," he had said. Now, standing among the ruins of his work, she realized that in his own twisted way, he had. He had given her the power to end the suffering that began with him, and perhaps to begin something new. The wind carried voices, faint whispers of the souls once trapped by his experiments. They circled her weightless like smoke. But their tone was not one of torment. They whispered gratitude, release. The energy that had bound them now radiated outward, returning to the world as light. She closed her eyes and raised her hands. The violet glow intensified, reaching into the sky like a pillar of energy. It burst through the clouds, illuminating the night in a brilliant aurora of purple fire. The air shimmered. The stars above responded, bending and swirling around the column as if acknowledging the birth of something divine. When the light faded, the graveyard was gone. In its place stood a vast field of wildflowers, glowing faintly, whispering with the wind. The graves had become seeds. The death that once defined this place had transformed into life. The woman stood at the center of it all, her long hair flowing in the soft wind, her eyes reflecting the new dawn that began to rise over the horizon. She no longer remembered her name. Perhaps she never had one of her own. But as the sunlight touched her face, she understood what she had become. Not a god. Not a monster. Something beyond both. A soul reborn, forged from pain, purified by light, and made whole by the merging of what was once divided. Her voice echoed softly across the blooming field. Every creation bears its shadow. Every shadow seeks its light, and I am the balance between the two. She began to walk, not away from the past, but toward a horizon where no past or future existed. The world shifted subtly around her as if following her will. The flowers turned in her direction, their petals glowing in her presence. Birds, unseen for decades in this dead land, began to sing. As she walked, the earth behind her continued to awaken, rivers flowing, winds softening, colors returning. Each step was a resurrection, and above, high in the sky, a single streak of violet light remained, fading slowly but never vanishing completely. A reminder of what had happened here. A reminder of what was born from tragedy. Somewhere, far beyond the horizon, the echo of a heartbeat answered hers. Perhaps it was the last remnant of the scientist, or perhaps it was the universe itself acknowledging her rebirth. She smiled faintly, her voice barely a whisper carried by the wind. "The world tried to erase me," she said. "But I was never meant to disappear. I was meant to become." And with that, the purple soul, neither human nor divine, neither victim nor savior, stepped into the light of a new dawn. The world watched, and for the first time in centuries, it breathed again. Graveyard was silent again, but not the peaceful kind of silence. It was the kind that held its breath, waiting for something dreadful to return. The fog hung low, glowing faintly with the residue of that terrible violet light. The woman sat trembling in her wheelchair, staring at the grave where both the man and the creature had vanished. Her fingers still buzzed with static, faint lines of light flickering beneath her purple skin. Her heart, if it could still be called that, pounded erratically, sometimes skipping beats, sometimes doubling them. The silence pressed against her ears until she couldn't stand it anymore. "Doctor!" she called out. Her voice echoed across the cemetery, but there was no answer. Just the soft whisper of wind brushing through the dead trees. Something inside her stirred. A faint hum, like a voice trying to break through the walls of her mind. She gripped the armrest tightly. "Who's there?" And then suddenly her vision blurred. The fog, the graves, the broken shovel, all dissolved. She wasn't in the graveyard anymore. Bright light. Cold metal. The scent of disinfectant. Machines beeping in steady rhythm. Her body lay motionless on a surgical table, tubes snaking into her veins, wires tracing the contours of her skull. Around her, masked figures moved like shadows, surgeons, scientists, technicians, but all of them silent, their faces hidden behind glass, and among them, the man. The same man who had just tried to bury her. His eyes were wide and frantic, his hands trembling as he adjusted the machines. "Increase the current," he ordered. "We're losing her again." She could hear everything, the hum of power, the rising panic in his voice, the static of the monitors. But she couldn't move. Her consciousness was trapped somewhere between pain and darkness. Then she felt it, the serum. It flooded through her veins like fire. Every nerve screamed, every muscle convulsed. Her mind filled with light so intense it burned. "Stop!" one of the other voices shouted. "You're overloading the system." But he didn't stop. "She deserves a chance," he said. "Just one more chance. And then, darkness." The memory snapped like a broken film reel. She gasped, snapping back into the graveyard, clutching her chest. Her skin glowed faintly in rhythm with her pulse. "I died there," she whispered. "And he brought me back," a voice answered. Not from outside, but inside her mind. A voice that sounded eerily like her own. "No, he brought us both back." Her breath caught. "Who are you?" "I am what he left behind," the voice said. "The part he buried." The woman's head pounded. Flashes erupted behind her eyes. Memories that didn't belong to her. A city burning, experiments in secret laboratories, screams in metal corridors. She saw the doctor again, younger, proud, and full of hope. "The serum can reverse cell decay," he said to a group of officials. "We can conquer death itself." She saw herself, human, alive, laughing, holding his hand. "You really think it'll work?" she asked. "I'll make it work," he replied. "Even if it kills me." But it hadn't killed him. It had killed her. Tears welled up in her eyes. "I was his experiment," she murmured. "Not his miracle." The voice inside her laughed softly, the sound dark and broken. "And now you are his guilt-made flesh." She gritted her teeth. "If you're inside me, then you're the other one, the thing he buried." "I am what you were," the voice whispered. What he couldn't control. Suddenly, the graveyard lights flickered again, except there were no lights. The glow came from her, pulsing brighter with every heartbeat. The ground trembled as if answering her. "You think you're alive," the voice continued, "but you're just a reflection. A perfect simulation built from dying neurons. He made me first, the failure. Then he made you, the correction. But you can't erase what's already written." Her hand shook. "You're lying, am I?" She looked at her reflection in a cracked tombstone. For the first time, she saw the truth. Beneath her purple skin were faint geometric lines, circuits, networks, data streams, glowing faintly like constellations under flesh. She wasn't human. "Not anymore, no," she whispered, tears burning her eyes. "No, I can still feel. I can still think. I can still remember," the voice softened. "Then remember this." And another memory hit her, her own death. She was in the lab, alarms blaring. The serum had overloaded. Glass shattered. Fire filled the room. She screamed, her body collapsing as the machines exploded. The doctor's face appeared above her, covered in soot, his eyes wild. "I'm sorry," he whispered as everything faded away. Then darkness. Then the grave, and now this. She clutched her head, sobbing. "Why did he bring me back?" "Because he loved you," the voice said coldly. "And because he couldn't accept that he destroyed the only thing that made him human." Her breath came in ragged gasps. "And you? What do you want?" "I want what you took from me," the voice hissed. "My body, my life, my freedom." The woman looked toward the grave again, the faint light still flickering beneath the soil. "You're not gone, are you?" The voice chuckled, the sound echoing through her skull. "No, I'm just waiting." A cold wind swept through the graveyard, carrying with it the faint scent of electricity and rot. And in that moment, she understood the truth. She wasn't alone in her body. She was sharing it with something else. Something that remembered everything she had forgotten. Something that wanted out.